It's not lame-ass karate. It's Cobra Kai.
So Cobra Kai is one of the most unlikely success stories you're going to see in movie or television. If you don't know what it is, I'll try and be pretty vague in terms of spoilers, but essentially it's a TV show set in the Karate Kid universe. Now the Karate Kid movie, and I'm talking the original, following Daniel LaRusso, Miyagi, and Johnny Lawrence all the way back in 1984, is a classic movie and it's very well known. It's one of those movies that I think everybody kind of knows, even though a lot of people haven't seen it. Now the Karate Kid is a pretty damn great standalone story, where Daniel comes to town, meets a nice girl called Ali, he gets his ass kicked by the local bullies, who are badass, no karate. He gets trained by an old wise sensei called Miyagi, and at the end of the movie, Daniel beats the bullies, spearheaded by Johnny Lawrence. He gets the girl, and all is well with the world. Except they end up making 2 sequels, a spin-off, and a reboot, all from the original, and none of them were very good. But then in August of 2017, a TV show was announced, called Cobra Kai, which was going to be set 34 years after the original movie and in the same universe as it. The protagonist was going to be the bully of the original story, Johnny Lawrence, with William Zabka reprising the role, and that Ralph Macchio was going to also be returning as Daniel LaRusso, as the rival of the story. So this TV show was essentially just going to do the opposite of what the original movie had done. And if that wasn't enough, the show was being made for YouTube Premium, because if you didn't know, YouTube is producing and airing TV shows now. This all sounds like a remedy for success, right? Well, actually, this sounded like a catastrophe waiting to happen. But then May 2018 rolled around, and the first season dropped, and the 10 30-minute episodes were actually really good. They were so good that I think Cobra Kai is probably in my top 5 TV shows of 2018, and I watch a lot of TV shows, so this is saying something. In the original movies, Johnny Lawrence is just your typical 80s bully, and besides the scene near the beginning of the second movie, he's painted as pretty irredeemable. You know that over-the-top bully you see all the time in movies, where you really don't understand why they're being such assholes, and you wish somebody would just punch them in the face? Well, Johnny Lawrence was that guy in the movies. Why would anybody want a TV show about a 40-year-old version of that douchebag? But this show changes the whole way you will perceive his character in The Karate Kid. William Zabka does a perfect job of playing somebody who is in the middle of their life, realizing that they peaked in high school, knowing that they were the bully, and while wanting to be the good guy, life just kept getting in his way and fucking him over. But even at that, through this show you hear Johnny's side of the story from high school, about how Ali was the love of his life, and one day this new kid rolls in and within a day is already trying to put the moves on her. You start sympathizing with a lot of Johnny's reasons for doing the things he did, and you start to realize that he was kinda just molded by his situation surrounding him. His sensei was an insane maniac trying to brainwash kids into being the worst kind of person they could be. His dad was the personification of asshole, and the one good thing he had was the girl he loved, and now that was getting upended as well. Now the show doesn't try and make you feel that Johnny was right, or was the good guy in the whole Karate Kid story, and it shouldn't. He wasn't the good guy, and he wasn't really right either. But it's making you sympathize with him and question whether Daniel really is the all-good person that this show does so well. No one is all good in this, but no one is all bad either. Okay, except maybe Kreese in Season 2, because he's batshit insane. You see Daniel do some really shady and horrible stuff throughout the 2 seasons, and then you see Johnny do some genuine, heartfelt, wholesome things too. Daniel's kind of become a smug asshole, and even though he does have good intentions a lot of the time, you can see streaks come out in him that are very similar to how Johnny was in the original Karate Kid movies. But this show isn't all about the 2 rivals from the movie. This also is about their children, and the kids that are growing up in this area. Johnny's son, called Robbie, Daniel's daughter, called Samantha, and another kid that Johnny takes under his wing, called Miguel. Now, while there are others, these 3 are our central looks into the world, a world where this town they grew up in was shaped by its obsession with karate, and over the last 34 years it's died down a bit, but it's making a comeback. The interesting thing about a lot of these kids is that as they start training under Cobra Kai and its strike first, strike hard motto, we see a lot of the nerdy and loser kids slowly transition into becoming the bullies, and it's all done superbly well. One of the kids is called Eli, and at the start of the show all you can really do is feel bad for him. He's constantly bullied due to a deformity with his upper lip, and he just all around doesn't have a great life. But by the end of the show, after 2 seasons of training with Cobra Kai, Eli, or Hawk as he becomes known as, becomes one of the worst and most hateful characters on the show. He becomes possibly the worst bully in the series, and he starts to realize this. He becomes the very thing he once hated, but he's in too deep now, and he doesn't want to admit that he's the bully. And it runs so well in parallel with Johnny's story, a kid who started out just wanting to be cool, but due to Cobra Kai, he became the bad guy, and even though he knew it, he didn't want to stop himself. And it's things like this that the show does masterfully well. It takes the most sympathetic of characters and turns them into the complete opposite, and then takes the most despicable of characters and turns them into likable and sympathetic. Most people see this show as an unnecessary cash grab on the Karate Kid brand, but I don't think it is. The stories we see over the first 2 seasons that are about characters from the movies feel necessary. A lot of it feels like natural progression for these characters. I feel like this all adds so much to the Karate Kid world. Never once did I feel the returning of a character was unnecessary, and if you're a fan of the movie, I think you'll have a very hard time not loving Cobra Kai. I also couldn't finish without mentioning 2 of the most integral parts of the show, the soundtrack and the fight choreography. Fight choreography always was going to be one of the most important parts of this show. It's about karate, so it needs to look really good. Take Iron Fist Season 1 for example. I thought the writing on that show was actually pretty good, but the fights were done so poorly that it brought the whole show down for me. But I'm happy to say that another huge plus for this show is its fight scenes. The All Valley tournament at the end of Season 1 is done brilliantly. The fights are suspenseful and so fun to watch, and the soundtrack does a great job at blending much of the music from the original movie into brand new tracks for the TV show. So is Cobra Kai perfect? No. And since we're talking about both Seasons 1 and 2, it's far from perfect. Season 2 has far too many Disney Channel style moments. A lot more things feel forced, and even the soundtrack can make seemingly simple scenes feel like they're part of a trailer. But no TV show is perfect. Okay, The Leftovers might be perfect, but 99.9% of TV shows aren't perfect, and if you're a fan of The Karate Kid, I think you should give Cobra Kai a chance. If you aren't a fan of The Karate Kid, I still think you should give Cobra Kai a chance. But anyway, this was just something new I was trying. Maybe it turned out great, maybe it didn't. So are you a fan of the show, are you not? I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please take the time to like and even subscribe. So thanks very much for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day.